Okay, we'll call to order this October the 30th, 2019 meeting of the Franklin County Commission. Roll call.
Commissioner Stottlemyre.
Present.
Commissioner Waymire.
Present.
Chair Howard.
Present.
Vice Chair Dickinson.
Present.
Commissioner Dunn.
Present. If you'd all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please remain standing for the invocation that will be led by David Lee. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the folks that are here with us and those listening and watching online. We ask for your guidance. We ask for you to open our eyes and open our ears. And Father, we ask that you always guide us to do what is right each and every day. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, takes us to correspondence and organizational business. The first item on that today is to recognize Darren Hall for his 31 years of service with Franklin County. Nick?
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
I want to take a moment to talk about Darren and his retirement. Darren's worked for the county for 14 years. He's not only been a good coworker, but a darn good friend at times. Darren has been instrumental in helping bring the department from what he was when we first took it over to one of the top in the state. His knowledge and education has put Franklin County EMS on the map for good education, high quality standards and protocols. Not only has he done education in our department, but throughout the state he's recognized, and we have taught a lot of classes for a lot of people throughout. He leaves a legacy that's not just Franklin County, but throughout the Kansas City metro area. Darren's taught initial education classes of I don't know how many EMS professionals that he has he's taught, but I know there's a lot of people out there that know him. So he's leaving a great legacy with retirement, getting to go do something. Hopefully we all get to do what we love. And with that, I want to just from my heart thank him for everything that he's done for Franklin County. I want to wish him the best in his retirement and hope that his kids and his wife and him get to enjoy Colorado. So with that, I'd like to present a plaque.
He will be having a retirement at the EMS building on today at between 1 and 3, is that correct?
Yes.
So everyone's welcome to stop by and wish him the best. Okay. Thank you, bud.
I have a lot to say. I want to thank Franklin County for the time that I've been here for 14 years. Thank the staff. You guys showed up in force today. Thank you to stick by to me. Ever in the Dillon, Silverthorne, Frisco, you need a fly fishing guide? Pick me up. That's where I'm gonna be headed. So sometime after the first of the year. So Nick has been a great boss and great chief. Workman's in very good hands with the captains that we have in place. And Christie took my spot, and I'm gonna miss all you guys.
and you're not gonna stay?
Okay, second item on correspondence and organizational business will be a quarterly update from the Conservation District. Carrie?
Always makes me feel good when I'm not the only one that comes in and then leaves, so busy schedules. So I don't know where the year has gone, but we're already finished with the third quarter, and of course I'm almost a month late in getting that report to you, but the Conservation District Board of Supervisors were able to approve 63 new contracts for through 5 conservation programs with a total value of $457,500 that will help implement approximately $700,000 worth of best management practices, including abandoned water well pluggings, terraces and waterways for erosion control, several pasture management projects, nutrient management, timber stand improvement, grassland conservation initiative, and monarch habitat. This $457,000 will go directly to Franklin County landowners to implement best management practices on private lands with environmental benefits for our entire community. In addition to the 63 new contracts, the Conservation District Board was also able to approve payments on 6 completed projects, and the payments totaled just over $25,000. That's not a lot, but with the wet weather, we were happy to see some projects completed. Speaking of payments, also during the third quarter, we were able to receive our notice of funding from you, the commissioners, for 2021. We will mark our 80th anniversary in 2021 of conserving natural resources and serving as an integral part of the public service system here in Franklin County. So we do want to say thank you for the annual funding that allows us to continue our programs and services. The most popular request that we had this summer was whether or not the Conservation District had funding for repair work due to all the rain. Terraces across the county that were broken over due to the extreme rainfall are in need of major repair and unfortunately are not eligible for any funding. Even with the FEMA disaster funds that were made available following the county's disaster declaration last spring, there was no FEMA funding available through USDA or the Kansas Department of Agriculture for repair work on ag land. During the third quarter, the Conservation District served 8 landowners directly with custom seed orders, primarily for pasture seeding and monarch habitat. We also worked with 20 landowners and the Ottawa Co-op on cover crop seed orders. The Conservation District does not have storage or handling capacity to manage the bulk seed needed for cover crops. We greatly appreciate the collaboration with Co-op's seed department in getting cover crops on the ground for soil health benefits. Lastly, during this quarter, we were excited about a new endeavor that has gained Franklin County some national recognition. The Conservation District was awarded an $85,000 grant for technical assistance made possible through a partnership with the National Association of Conservation Districts, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service, and Land O'Lakes. This grant will also allow for additional funds in the $85,000 range in the fall of 2020. We will use these grant funds to hire a conservation agronomist to advance sustainable agriculture practices and environmental outcomes in a multi-county area in East Central Kansas. The agronomist will serve as a conservation leader in the area to foster and expand collaborative public-private partnership with ag retailers, crop consultants, state and federal conservation agencies, and other organizations that help to advance a voluntary, incentive-based approach to private land conservation. So that was our big news. We've been very busy. We're still on the federal side short-staffed, but things are going great. So if you have any questions, and that's all I have today.
Thank you for the update, Carrie.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, third item on correspondence and organizational business will be an update on the Rhythm and Ride project. Sydney?
Hello, thank you for having me today. I do have a small hand. I don't know if it got attached, but I have just some more information about Rhythm and Ride. So I'm here today not only representing the Chamber of Commerce, but also Onward Ottawa and Rhythm and Ride. Jeff Carroll was originally supposed to be here today, but he decided to leave a day early for Italy, so we wished him the best as he left. But Rhythm and Ride is a bike and musical festival that will be happening in April of 2020, the 25th and the 26th. The plan is to have 2 long out and back bike rides on Saturday and Sunday morning, planting small single or double musical pieces along the way, as well as having a large concert at Pomona and having a large festival type music as well at Legacy Square on Saturday night. So we're really excited. We think it will bring in a lot of people. Our Facebook group already has thousands of people interested in the event. Because it starts early on Saturday, we're hoping that it will bring people to stay Friday and Saturday night. They'll also bring their families, so we're expecting a lot of people to be shopping in downtown Ottawa and eating and staying, so we'll bring a lot of economic growth that weekend, specifically to downtown. So we're really excited about it. I'm here to answer any questions you have. We're just trying to put it on your radar and make sure you have a good idea of what the plan is and what we are hoping to accomplish for the city and the county out of it.
It's quite a ways off, but I'm sure we'll be getting more updates as it gets closer. And
Correct.
going
We're
on?
working on building our webpage right now, and with that, having registration. I know Jeff has a lot of people that are really excited and can't wait for the registration site to be up so that they can get their spot. So it's exciting. We're hoping that it will be something like how the car show started, kind of just on a whim one year, and grew into a massive, massive event that was really positive for our county.
Luck on hoping to have good weather.
Yes, yes,
please.
too.
good weather.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you guys like have these? And it also has
Oh, yes, please.
sponsorship opportunity on the back.
Commissioners, if I might add something to the group as well, so we can be collaborating.
Okay, we have someone sign up public comment. A citizen desiring to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Discussion is limited to 5 minutes, and the commission will not take action or discuss items at this time. Discussion should be limited to matters of county commission business, and public comment is not permitted in regard to personnel matters or on pending legal matters. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items at a later date.
We have 2. The first one is Eddie Schultz.
Morning.
If you just give us your
Y'all
name
know
and
I'm coming
address.
here to,
Oh, name and,
Name and address.
3953 Rock Creek Terrace of Rantoul. Come in here to talk about your road situation. Guys, you and ladies, our roads are terrible. We've got the best equipment out there to do the job with, and it isn't getting done. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I've called in here for several years, and I get no response. So I've talked to the blade man. Who is in charge of the roads out there? You talk to a blade man, and he says, oh, you got to come in here. You call in here, and we get no response. We're going to have some problems out here this winter. If we get snow, we got cars running off in some of them ditches. We got ditches out there that is in the middle of the road, and it's not happening. So I don't know. That's the reason I'm in here today. I want some action. I want some answers. So, and then minimum maintenance roads. I want to know, what does a minimum maintenance road consist of? No maintenance at all that's not acceptable. I'm a farmer. I've got a road down there I've been calling in for the last 5 years. I did get the brush mowed back. To come out with a semi full of grain is just about impossible. I do it, I have to load light. Guys, all I want is some answers. I don't know what your thinking is, but please, let's get out there and do something to help out here. I mean, it's just not a pretty picture. hauling gravel to fix a big washout doesn't get it. We got dirt out there alongside the road that's 90% gravel. If you clean it up and cut that curb off and put it where to use, you don't have to buy gravel. Guys, I just don't understand. I've built roads all over the state of Kansas and Arizona and everywhere, and it's just not happening here. So with that said, I give me some answers somewhere. Call me. I mean, I'll talk to anybody and see if we get something done. All right? Thanks for your time.
And clear out.
Claire Hout, 1723 Highway 59. On the same issue that Ed was talking about, we got major problems. I've lived here since 74, and you got the best motor graders that you've ever had. Evidently, you got a lacking of operational management or something. The water's running down all the roads. It's not running in the ditches where you do have ditches. Granted, there's a lot of places that aren't ditches, but when you got 6 inches on each side of the road that the water can't get away, it all runs to the bottom and it runs all the rock into the creeks and into the ditches. It's not hard to see. We got several pictures on Hamilton Road going east in a big rainstorm where all the water's just running down the road. In the past, the motor graders, some of them have taken cutouts so the water could get to the ditch every couple hundred feet. Well, don't seem to be happening in our area. I'm mostly talking about east of 59 on Hamilton and towards Peoria. And there's a lot of that stuff on the east side of 59 don't get graded but once every 2 to 3 months, which is ridiculous. With equipment that this county spends, the money that this county spends on equipment, that's fine. They got state-of-the-art equipment. They either have nobody to run it or nobody that's been trained to run it. And if you don't have people that's trained to run it, find somebody that does. I mean, hire some construction people that know how to run this stuff because they're not getting it done at all. And the efficiency is as bad as I've ever seen it. And the other thing I got a problem with is I got a minimum maintenance road to a big river bottom east of Peoria, east of Tennessee Terrace and Kingdom Terrace. And it's a gated road that they closed off years ago, not what we wanted, but some people wanted it. Well, there's oil wells and stuff down there. I don't know if they're operational anymore, but the point being, we can't get down there anymore. I spent a half a day down there this spring with my skid steer just making it accessible. There's 4 farmers down there that got several hundred acres of farm ground, and the landowner, my particular landowners out of state, are paying several $1,000s a year in taxes and not getting anything back. And we can't get down that road after that 11-inch rain now. There's just nothing. They don't even go down and look at it. And so I don't know. They went 2 miles east of 59 on Hamilton. They went down there 2 or 3 weeks ago and spent a day working on a minimum maintenance road that went nowhere, evidently just for whoever that owns it wanted to hunt back there. But I agree with Mr. Schultz. There's several problems in this road department. I don't know where it's at, whether it's operational, management, or what. But there's problems, and it's worse than it's been. It's worse than it was 20 years ago. So, thanks for your time.
It takes us to the consent agenda. Items today on the consent agenda that need considered and approved are commission meeting minutes for October the 23rd, 2019, study session minutes for October the 28th, 2019, tax change orders in the amount of a positive $82.42, and payroll in the amount of $1,153,779.14. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sotomayor?
Yes.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes, except for I abstain from the study session minute.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Okay, takes us to items of business. First item of business today is consider and approve the comprehensive wellness and wellness leave policy. Aaron.
Good morning. So this is just bringing back before you today the comprehensive wellness policy that we discussed on Monday. And just as a reminder, we're working with the Pathways for Better Health Blue Cross and Blue Shield grant. Work sites are eligible for $10,000. We have our wellness team put together, and we have worked with the Workwell Kansas group out of the KU Med Center, the Wichita campus. And from that, we have put together what was presented on Monday and what is before you today. And really, we're just looking to develop a culture for wellness for our employees. We know that will carry over into their better productivity and so forth, and just better morale and so forth within our employees as well. And the goal is to develop a positive, safe, and health-promoting work environment. So we're just bringing this before you today, and with some action to move this forward. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have as well after Monday.
Like Aaron said, we discussed this Monday at the study session and went over it pretty thoroughly. So is there any questions on this? If not, we'll look for a motion to consider and approve the comprehensive wellness and wellness leave policy.
So moved.
Motions are a second.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 2, consider for approval awarding the bid number 1 and 5 to GCR Tires and tire bid 2 and 3 to Pomps Tire / Cross Midwest. And Goodyear Commercial Tires submitted a substitute tires, making their bid void. So they rebid number 4 and consider for approval awarding tire bid number 4 to GCR Tires. David.
Commissioners, that rebid on tire number 4, we actually had the wrong tire number in the original bid. We discovered that when we were set to bring it before you last week. And so we pulled the whole agenda item off so that we could send out, get the proper number out to our vendors, and they submitted rebids for that particular tire. So that's what's going on with that. Again, these tires are needed to replenish our stock so that we have these tires on hand when an issue arises. We're able to pull them off the shelf and get our equipment back in service right away. So we're asking that you approve the bids as listed in the motion here.
Any questions on that? If not, we'll look for a motion to approve the tire bids as stated.
Make a motion to approve the tire bid that's submitted.
Second?
Motion and a second.
Commissioner Dickinson? Yes. Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yeah.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Yes. Okay, all the items of business we have today takes us to staff reports. Derek?
Yeah, I assume David will do so as well, but I'll talk a little bit about the road situation. It's hard because I don't know that I can say anything that we haven't said dozens of times at these meetings, but the biggest problem facing our road and bridge department is the historic amount of precipitation we've gotten in the last year. We've spent so much time just trying to keep roads open and passable. We are aware that there are problems with the ditches. We know we've had washouts, and we're working hard to do what we can to rectify that situation. I think one of the biggest challenges we have is we only have so many operators, and we could increase our staffing. The problem with that is we know that this last year has been very, very unique. I mean, it's truly been historic. So the other 99% of the time, we would then have so many operators that we don't need, and then you guys would have people coming in saying, why does the county have so many people standing around doing nothing? So it's a hard balance to strike. I mean, if we had more people, we could get this done quicker, but we had more people, 99 seasons out of 100, we're not going to use them. And so we're trying to find that balance. I will tell you that David reports directly to me. I have not gotten calls from either of you. I've never met you before. I find it very hard to believe that you've tried to reach David and not gotten a call back, because David always returns calls, and we've heard that time and time again. If there has been a mistake, I'm sure you will rectify that, but the communication coming out of Public Works is better than, it's better than it's been in my 5+ years here. I know that. Training, I mean, I think we're all aware we need to continue training, and I think we will continue to do that. It's just been so incredibly hard. I mean, this is David's first year on the job, and it's been just an awful year weather-wise, so I don't feel like he's even really had a chance to get grounded yet. But I'm hoping that things will normalize a little bit, but I do think that I appreciate you guys coming in, because we've got to know these things. I mean, and please call me if you're not getting the response that you feel like you need, because at the very least, we can return your calls and we can sympathize with you. We might not be able to get out there immediately and perfectly fix the problem, but we can at least say, you know what, you guys are right, your frustrations are perfectly justified, and talk about what potential solutions are. So that's really all I have today. So,
Like you said, David, address it a little bit more when it gets to him. Well, let's just go to you, David.
All right, I got a long list for you. I planned to touch on some things with the road, so I'll just start with my list. Traffic on Highway 59 in Kingman. If you've driven through it the last day or so, you know that we've switched traffic over to the other side. And so the east side of that project is open. There's still some finish up work that'll be ongoing, but they're on the other side, and they're going to start milling and getting that prep to be able to get that project finished. They're still on schedule to be able to finish, be substantially complete by Thanksgiving. We meet every couple weeks, and that's that is a big topic of conversation during those meetings, to make sure that they honor their contractual requirements. So we're holding their feet to the fire on that, and so far things are progressing nicely. The Pawnee Road Bridge, I was out there last week, or actually earlier this week. They've got the east abutment that work is well underway. When I was out there, they were finishing some of the dirt work so they could start the west abutment. So that project, with all the flooding that has occurred with that, they are trying to play catch up as well. So the weather has impacted both the 59 and Kingman project and the Pawnee Road Bridge project, and quite frankly, it's affected everything that we've done this year from a road and bridge standpoint. If you recall last week, I mentioned that the big culvert on Jackson Road, just east of Idaho, we had that road closed. That road has been reopened. The work is on the roadbed. We felt like it was important to get that opened because of the weather that we're experiencing right now. We needed to get that taken care of. We'll have to go back, and we've got some side slopes and some of that we still need to fill in and armor those banks. But the road is open. Folks are able to travel through there safely. Hopefully we won't have to worry about that particular tube for another 40 or 50 years, well past my time here. So What have we got going on? Currently, we have 20 active work orders. Those are projects that we have called DigSafe, and we have utilities located so that we can go out and work on these projects. So we have 20 of those that are current. That includes 10 entrances that folks have requested, and there's ditch work associated with those projects. We have 6 intersection projects that we're making improvements on. That involves grading, obviously, putting in some new culverts, and the ditch work associated with that. And then we have 5 ditching projects that we've got scheduled. So, last week I indicated that we weren't doing much of that. I was wrong in the aspect that we are doing ditching projects associated with our entrances and some of these things. We're not doing mile after mile after mile of ditching projects right now, but we do have, we are doing some ditch work associated with these projects. So we have 20 active. We have 114 stacked up in a queue waiting for us to get to them. And that's 114 of those, with more being added on a daily basis. We have responded or worked on over 2,500 work orders this year due to all the flood-related activities. Now, some of those work orders, in order to track things for FEMA, may be nothing more than opening a flood flip sign. But there's a whole bunch of them that are related to fixing washouts and fixing, removing debris from the roads and re-rocking and doing these things that we need to do in order to keep the roads open and passable. That has been our goal all year long, and that's going to continue to be our goal, is to keep the road surface where folks can come and go. And so we can continue to do those things. And that doesn't include the regular maintenance items that we're doing with the blading and adding gravel when we need to on these roads.
David, I know you've mentioned this several times, but it can't hurt. How many blades do you have?
We have 9. We have 9 blade operators. We have 10 blades. We keep one around as a spare, and we have deployed that numerous times this year to help in particular districts that after floods and whatnot, where we have teamed up to get a district back in order. So,
how many miles of road?
We have 1,100 miles of road total, just over 200 of paved surfaces, and we have roughly 900 gravel roads, miles of gravel road. So, the edge of the road, you got 2 of those for every mile, so you have 1,800 miles of gravel road edges and ditches that we maintain with 9 guys. Each one of them carry anywhere from 80 to 100 miles of road in their district. And again, we have pulled them out of their district to help in some districts that have been gotten more than their fair share of the rainfall totals this year. And so we haven't been able to, in a normal year, the guys like to start at one end of their county and work their roads in a methodical method, and that allows us to get around every few weeks, once a month at least, to all of the roads within the district. This year, we've been hopping from spot to spot to spot, which is terribly inefficient from a standpoint of being able to maintain all the miles of road that we've got. But it's been important so that we can keep the roads open. We haven't had to close all that many roads due to the weather, and that's a testament to the work that the guys are doing. It's not to say that we don't have significant issues out there, because we do. There is no doubt about that. We talk about that. We have plans to take care of those things. We are scared to death what's going to happen this winter. So we are working diligently to fill in those dangerous spots to get those things taken care of. That's part of what these projects that we have located are. So we are trying to be proactive to handle these things so that when the snow does start falling for real, we're prepared for it. It keeps me up at night. I worry about it all day, every day. And we are doing the very best that we can. And I'm happy to visit with anybody at any time about the roads. I'll be happy to meet folks on site. I do that fairly regularly, and explain our challenges and listen to the challenges that the citizens have. You know, the only way that I can fully understand what folks are seeing and dealing with is to go and drive the roads with them, to speak with them. And I'm happy to do that. And I will be the first to admit that we may not have all the answers. So getting information from the public and those that may have a different thought, I'm open to that. But I have to deal with reality as well. So it's bridging that gap is something that I work hard to do.
Well, and I'm going to jump in there, David, and one thing I would say, and, you know, I think David's doing a good job, and I think our guys are, you know, they're working incredibly hard, and I think everyone's demoralized. So obviously, we're going to talk about the things we feel like we're doing right and how we're handling the situation. That being said, in no way, shape, or form do I want to minimalize the concerns that the public has, because there's no doubt in my mind that the concerns that these gentlemen have, for example, have a lot of merit. I'm sure that they do, and we get a lot of calls, and we get it. I mean, it's not about, I don't think it's trivial, I don't think it's frivolous. I think they're issues that we have to take care of and that we want to take care of. But when, you know, you talk about 2,500 work orders, a list of 111, is that what you said?
14 was the last count that I had.
You know, it just, to find the time to do all of it, that's the challenge, and that's where we're all frustrated, so.
One of my challenges is to not only to deal with the here and now, but also to look forward, because I do believe that the weather's going to turn around at some point, and we're going to get back to a normal cycle of weather events where we can start having an impact. We're, as a group, we're laying the foundation for that day when it comes, when we can actually look forward and we can actually have a significant impact in all of our blade districts to make improvements. The blade operators are for that. All the equipment operators, we are trying to work in unison in that regard. But the here and now is making sure that folks have a road that they can drive down without getting stuck in the middle of the road. And we've made a lot of improvements. I've been on a lot of them here lately and in different parts of the county. Some roads are in great condition, and we still have others that we're working to improve. It's an ongoing thing, and it's going to be ongoing all winter and into next spring due to the weather that we've had this year. Moving on from that, we did load up our salt spreaders yesterday in anticipation for the ice that's expected any time. We'll be, in fact, they're probably out now, pre-treating all of our paved bridges and hills and curves, our usual suspects, if you will, trying to get ahead of that. And then our folks will respond accordingly. If we have a significant snow event or a significant ice event, we will deploy and try to take care of those things. The fuel island that's been down for over a year now, we're days away instead of weeks and months. The last word I got, there was some of the internal wiring into the pumps, the conduit and the wires were they needed to be replaced. So we are the contractors in the process of doing that. And so we remain very close to being able to fill in the concrete that we pulled out and filling those tanks up and starting to be able to refuel at our own facility again. The last thing I'm going to end with, yesterday I attended a KDOT local consult meeting down in Pittsburgh for KDOT District 4, which we are a part of. This is the second meeting that I've attended related to this. Essentially what it is, KDOT is finishing up their last 10-year transportation plan, which was called T-Works, and they are beginning to make decisions and make plans for the next 10-year transportation plan, which is called Forward. And they, not being a part of this before, I get the sense that they are really trying to communicate with all of the stakeholders all across the state in a more direct way than maybe they have in the past. So it gave me an opportunity to, in a breakout session, talk directly to KDOT officials regarding what's important to us. You know, we don't have any highway projects in the queue right now. That's not to say that we don't have needs up in this area, but I was able to share with them the importance of the local funding option for the bridges that we utilize on a regular basis. If you recall, we submitted 2 bridge applications earlier this year. We were amongst the 90-plus applications that they received, totaling close to $50 million worth of new bridges, when they had less than a $8 million fund to be able to fund those bridges. So I advocated for increasing those dollars, certainly not to take away from it because of the huge need that not only Franklin County, but all of the counties have with regard to bridge replacement and those sorts of things. Overall, KDOT has identified over $18 billion worth of infrastructure needs. They have funding available of about $2 billion. So the competition for all of their programs is pretty it's pretty fierce. A lot of folks are going after those dollars. One thing that was obvious to me in District 4, which we are a part of, the folks in Southeast Kansas are a lot more organized and a lot more aggressive about going after those dollars and that are available in those programs. I visited with our area engineer from Garnett, and we are going to get together with the other counties in our area and start looking at how we can work together to have maybe a little bit louder voice when it comes to the selection of projects. So that's something that we're going to be doing in the coming months. The other thing, with the T-Works programs, they pretty much selected most of the programs at the beginning of that 10-year period, and so it was next to impossible to get dollars allocated for any projects that might come up during that time period. With this program, they're going to, every 2 years, they're going to take another look and accept applications for things. So we have an opportunity if something comes up. Let's say we got serious about 68 highway from Ottawa to Pomona, doing something to that to make that a little safer. We've got time to prepare that. The city of Wellsville with what is it, K33? They're doing some improvements to it, or got some scheduled. From what I've seen and what I've heard, the improvements that they have scheduled don't really meet what the demand is there. So we've got time here to put our voices together and see if we can't have a little bigger impact with that. So with that, I'll end here, but there's a lot going on, and we continue to try to do our best every day.
I got a question, David, that came up with Mr. Clarout. On on minimum maintenance roads that have been gated off, is that road abandoned then? Is that the?
You know, it's not abandoned. We are still on the hook to provide a little bit of a maintenance. We've had a number of farmers over the last weeks and months contact us to go in and do some improvements to the minimum maintenance roads so that they can get their crops out. We understand that that is that's their livelihood. It's important to them. It's important to the county. It's important to all of us. And so we have gone in when we've gotten specific requests to take care of those minimum maintenance roads. Are they on a regular rotation to be maintained? No, sir. They are not. We have, especially this year, we have other higher priorities, but we also recognize that if a road is impassable and they can't get their crops out, that's a problem. So we have gone in and done some, whether it's grading or adding a little bit of rock to be able to make it passable. We've been doing that. And we'll continue to do so.
There's also, and not saying that any given farmer should be interested in this, but there is a procedure for returning a minimum maintenance road to a full maintenance road. I think part of the obstacle there for the individual is historically what the county has asked is that the individual pay for the initial rock. But then after that, the county will maintain it, will add it to the rotation and basically maintain it like any other road. And I know this board's done that a couple of times since I've been here. It doesn't happen often, but we've had situations. I feel like here a couple years ago, school bus needed to get down one or something to pick up a kid. I think it might have been somewhere in the Rantoul area, so we returned one back so it does happen, and if that's something that would be of interest, that is available, but I have no idea what kind of cost we're talking about in terms of.
Most of the time that's been, since I've been up here, most of the time that's been like property is sold on the minimum maintenance and the new owners want to build on it and put a house there, and we went back and done it. I don't know that we've done one where we just did it for basically without a structure being put there, but I know we can, I guess.
One of the things that I skipped over whenever I was reading through my list of things to update you on, here lately we've picked up an unusual amount of trash the last week or so from roads and ditches that folks have just tossed out. Regular trash, couches, furniture, appliances, all of that sort of thing. And I think that part of the reason for that one area that's gated off, my understanding is that there was a lot of that going on in that area, and so they felt like if we gated it off at both ends, that would help prevent some of that from happening and prevent folks from trespassing. I know last year after I started, I remember I think might have even been in December right after we got a call and the guys had to go down there and grade and do some plowing in that area to be able to make those roads more accessible. We're not always checking minimum maintenance roads, and probably not going to, because we have other things that are going on. But when we do get a call, and it is something other than maybe the kids going down there and playing and tearing things up, when somebody needs to get in to do haying or take care of the crops, we do try to be responsive because we know how important that is to everybody.
I didn't know if we had a procedure if a minimum maintenance road got, let's say, washed out and it needed to be rebuilt, and I don't know.
I would have to, we have a policy in place. I would have to go back and look at it specifically for what you're talking about, but we have, I think they referred to a spot where we hauled rock. I'm sure that's what that situation was. It flooded and needed some rock in order to make it passable. We couldn't repair it with the material and whatnot that was on site, so we had to bring some in.
I do think, David, that you ought to go take a look at these minimum maintenance roads, and if there is something we can do.
How many miles of those do we have?
I'm not sure. A lot more than I would like. Quite honestly, I would.
One time was suggested we bring them all up to.
I don't know that we want to do that. I think,
Very expensive.
there's a movement, a thought out there that, in general, counties should look at, they call it right-sizing. They should look at all of their roads, and if there are roads that can be vacated, they should be. And, every road has different circumstances, but, personally knowing the issues that we have with maintaining the 900 miles of gravel that we've got, that should be an option that we should look and work with the landowners in those areas to see if it's a viable option.
And a lot of that over the last couple of years too. Small minimum maintenance roads where vacating them wouldn't landlock anyone.
Right.
But legally, once it's vacated, the landowner has more rights to control it than if it's a public area. So it gets rid of the vandalisms, the dumping, the people going out there for fun and tearing things up.
When we vacate a road, we're essentially deeding that land back or to the landowners, the adjacent landowners on each side. And at that point, the county would have no more responsibility for maintaining or doing anything with that land.
So when they put the gate up, that's the landowner that's doing that?
Well, that's a different situation. That was a special circumstance, and I'm not up to speed on all of the reasons why it occurred the way that it did.
Vandalism, and then
Well, there's one on
death.
Eisenhower, though,
Yeah.
that's a minimum maintenance road that has a gate now. I know people in my area, if their cows get out, they can't go down that road to go looking for them, but
And, each of those situations has a little bit different circumstances, and I would have to look into each one of them to understand why something was done.
Well, guys, feel free to get with David and visit with him about it. We hear you. We know what you're saying is right. I drive a lot of the gravel roads too, and I see it too. I do know that David's doing some things. We talked on the way down to the meeting about some things he's working on. We'll get into that a lot, but for a long time before David came on board, really didn't have anybody over the blade operators. We have foremans in road and bridge, but they weren't really per se over just the blade operators. I know he's working on that, trying to get that taken care of so we can hold our blade operators more accountable, plus try to get on a page where they're all blading the same way, get it the way we want them done, and get everybody doing it that way. So
take him out and show him what you're looking at, because he'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about what's going on, and maybe not today with the weather that's coming in, but yeah, definitely.
Last thought on that, how many miles of road are in our system?
We have 1,100 miles total.
And that does not include minimum maintenance?
I think
Maybe it
minimum
has.
maintenance is included in there, but that gives us 2,200 miles of right-of-way. Roughly 900 of that is gravel or minimum maintenance roads, 800 miles of right-of-way and ditches to maintain.
How many employees in your department?
We have 9 blade operators and 14 or 15 equipment operators / truck drivers. And then we've got a few more that we have to, that do signs full-time because of various issues with that, and just a couple of administrative staff. So we don't have a huge department by any stretch of the imagination.
Sheriff.
October's coming to an end, and as you know, at the beginning of the month, I brought in a ball cap that we had that said Sheriff on it in pink, and that was a fundraiser. And so at the end of this month, we'll be taking the money that we raised through that campaign, being donating that to the Franklin County Cancer Foundation. And we sold quite a few of them to the members of the public as well, enough that we had to make a couple additional orders to get more hats in for it. So I think it was a successful campaign. Friday, it turns into November, and we'll once be doing No Shave November, and that'll be a fundraiser that we're doing for a selected charity that's would also be a local charity, but haven't officially selected it yet, but we'll be doing that. So when you see our guys running around looking scruffy, they have not disregarded our policy. It is waived during the month of November.
Sheriff, do you allow folks that are follically challenged to participate in the?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Still let my husband do it.
So we do have that going on. We did participate in the DEA Drug Take Back Day as well this last weekend. As you know, we have a place down in our jail lobby where people can bring their medications in all the time. So from not just this weekend, but from what we've done for the last several months, we ended up turning over, and DEA came and picked up over 400 pounds of drugs, and I think it was 16 or 17 boxes. So again, that's been several months that was there, but that's a lot of prescription drugs that are not being flushed and put in our landfill and things like that. So it does keep people in there, and it keeps them out of the hands of those people that may abuse those. So it's been a good program that will continue. There will be some changes on it going forward. Logistics-wise, this was the last time that DEA will be coming to pick them up. So now in the future, we will have to box them up under their protocol and then go deliver those ourselves. So it'll be a little bit tougher, but it's something that we'll be doing. Friday as well, we have one that will be graduating the academy down at KLETC. That's Corporal Barkley, who's in the jail. As you know, we've had a focus on trying to get more, some of our jail staff to be certified under the PREA standards, which is Prison Rape Elimination Act. Under those standards, we have to have so many certified people to do investigations of any type of sexual assault or harassment, things like that in the jail. And so that's kind of our purpose for that, and that's why we chose to start doing that at the supervisor level. And so he will be graduating Friday down there, and we look forward to him being back. That'll be a good thing for our staffing. One thing that came back around that is not necessarily anything that any of us were excited about is that we seized some animals. We seized, I believe, 34 head of cattle, I believe. It's either 32 or 34 head of cattle and a horse. We worked with the animal owner for probably longer than we should have, but we're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and trying to get some things done and with adjacent landowners. And we were working with veterinarians out at Cottonwood as well. And it ended up at a point where we did do a seizure on those. We're in our 21-day period right now. Last I checked with Janet, that person still had not come in to post the performance bond on those. So, but we've been working with, keeping Janet in the loop and working with the county attorney's office as well to get everything going on that.
Animal welfare reasons, I assume?
Yes, yeah, and it was under the animal cruelty statute. And I guess a good thing is that the work that we did to address some of the concerns we had in that statute from the last time when that came up, and we did get those legislative changes made. Now I guess we're benefiting from some of those because this process seems to be going much smoother, and I don't anticipate that we'll be having the problems that we did the last time. The law is a lot more clear on that.
Did you say they were all cows? All cattle?
And then one horse.
And where are they now? You just gonna farm them?
We have the cattle at on a pasture here in the county with a local rancher that we've have an agreement with that's taking care of those for us. And then the horse is actually kept at another location. The veterinarians did not want the horse in the same pasture. They thought that it'd be better to separate them for health reasons, so we did that. So, last thing I have is that I had mentioned a week or two ago about Sergeant Vega's suggestion, his project that he came up with during the promotion process about us getting deputies into our schools. Jesse and I did meet with those school officials. It was well received. We've actually started the program, and the guys that are doing it love it. The school seems to love it. We've actually had some pretty good things that have come out of that already. Some talks with some kids and things like that, much like what an SRO would do on a regular basis. And again, we're able to get this done at no cost to the schools, no cost to the county. And everybody seems to be excited about the program, and it's this was our first week, and it seems to be going pretty good already. So other than that, if you guys have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does the jailers have to go through the full 14 weeks?
When they go through to get certified, yes, they do.
So they do come out a certified deputy then?
Yes, they do. They do. And then, again, that also kicks in that they have to maintain 40 hours of continuing education. But that certification helps us meet that standard under PREA to have that person there to do some of those investigations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Midge, you have anything?
Good morning. As you might imagine, this is our busy time of year. We've done at least 2,000 private vaccinations, private influenza vaccinations, which is a little ahead of last year, actually by quite a bit and above what we thought we would do, primarily because of the delay in influenza vaccine manufacturing. And the vaccine we chose to use this year is more readily available, so we've been able to fill some gaps, and I feel good about that, helped some people out that couldn't get it at another provider. So that's been going well. We've also, in October, we participated in 2 different emergency preparedness exercises, so it's been really busy that way. And I don't know if anybody went through our drive-through, but we got a lot of good compliments on that drive-through, and really appreciated the fire department in Ottawa participating with us. That using their bays made that very functional no matter what the weather. So we plan to do that every year, get back on schedule with that and help people out who maybe can't get in and out of their car easily and those kinds of things. All of that is just a part of what we're working on towards accreditation. We were able in August to fully submit our application for accreditation, which gives us 1 year to get all of our documentation uploaded into the system to fill any gaps we have in policies or surveying or other data collection, communications with the public. There are 12 domains in accreditation that we have well over 300 standards to meet. So we have looked at every standard, what we have already in place, and put that in a timeline as to when we will be able to fill those that we don't quite have yet. You know, we're not right where we want to be yet. So it's been a little slower work this fall because of all the other activities we're doing, but November, December, it starts to slow down a little on the clinic side, so we'll be able to move forward more on accreditation and get more of that uploaded. But again, we have really until the middle of August next year in order to get all that uploaded. At that time, then we'll be assigned a site visitation team, and that'll all be scheduled. So it's a fairly intensive, long process. But we're working on it, and we're pleased because I do believe we're seeing some improvements in our policies, procedures, and those kinds of things that it drives us forward on. We also have had an intern this fall, and we're getting ready to accept some more nursing students on a temporary basis, just so they get that experience in public health as well. And that also is some of the standards that we meet, is training the workforce for the future, because public health workforce is aging and in general, and so we want those people to be prepared to step into into that area, and so we're excited about that. But any questions you have, we'd be glad to answer. Health impact, health in all policies. I hope you've seen that flyer. If you haven't, I need to get it to you, but hope you'll register. And I think it's going to be the team making that presentation has worked very hard on making this truly local, with issues that we're concerned with here in the county and case studies for the county. So I hope everyone enjoys that.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a couple things. So as you guys know, we usually have 2 Southeast Kansas regional meetings every year. At the last one, I know that just because of circumstances and timing, none of you were able to attend, but Woodson County did express some concerns about hosting. They were supposed to be the next ones to host in the spring, and Allen County would host in the fall next year. I think the consensus among most people who were approached about that topic was that they didn't want to go all the way till fall of next year without having a meeting of the county officials, especially because some of the groups that meet kind of for their continuing education and other things like that. So Allen County has proposed that they move that meeting up to their fall meeting up to either June or July. That'll help kind of fill that gap, not go, a full, almost a full year without having a meeting, but have a mid-year meeting instead next year, and that'll help Allen County to not be in the thick of tax season when they're supposed to host the meeting. So I'm going to send the clerk back a comment and just say that I let you guys know about it. If you guys have any concerns about that, let me know. Usually it's the treasurer's group and the noxious weed group that have their continuing education. So I think when they know this, then they'll be able to better plan what times their meetings need to be. But I don't think that was overly a concern for commissioners. But do let me know if you have a concern about that. We continue to early vote in my office. Turnout's been fairly low. It is a city school election, so we don't expect an exceptional turnout, but we do have early voting on Saturday morning that I just want to let everyone know about from 9 to noon on Saturday. You can come in and vote in my office, and we would love to see everyone out voting early that's not going to be able to show up on election day. We trained over half our poll workers yesterday, so we had a group of about 45 election workers come to the courthouse and receive their training, which I have to do before every election, not just once a year, but every election. So that went really well, and we'll be hosting the remainder of them tomorrow. So
We have to do a canvas on that.
yes, you do. And so we've had some discussions about that. Derek and I and Rick and I discussed it. I think we're looking at having that the Friday after KAC, because as you guys know, we can canvass between the Monday after the election and the second Monday after the election. So we have 1 week to canvass, and the Monday after the election is Veterans Day, and county employees are all off, so I would have to pay my girls overtime for the whole entire time of the canvass, and I don't think that I don't really want to take away my girls' day off, so I don't really want to do that. Most of you, 4 of you, will be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to the KAC conference, so that leaves Friday and Monday. Nobody really likes to show up Monday morning if they don't have to. You guys do twice a month for your study sessions, but I didn't want to take up an additional Monday for you guys, so I'm thinking we're going to do it Friday morning. So
15th.
yes.
Right with me.
That's fine with me.
It's not gonna take very long, is it?
It should not take very long. I'm hoping we have very minimal provisional ballots, so.
It takes us to commissioner comments, board reports. Roy, you want to start?
I went to the Morningstar Homes Coffee last Friday. They're celebrating their 5th year in business. And this past year, Morningstar got Business of the Year award from the Kansas Commerce Committee. So they've got quite a year behind them. And I went down to the 4th of Main to the corner market. Franklin County is featured today in its soft opening, and all county employees can stop by there and get a cup of coffee or something. And it's open till 2 o'clock, so you have to get down there before 2 o'clock. That's all I have.
I went to the, last Tuesday and most of Wednesday to the emergency preparedness exercise. And that's all I went to, but I did notice this morning, the parking lot, the lines are down, and so we're all ready for spring. We can seal it up and put the lines, and it'll be great.
I hadn't had really too many meetings this last week. I did have the mayor, Lane, call me and thanked us for fixing the spot out by the bridge there going into town. Had still working, got the bids for helping Rantoul get new restrooms built in the park, and working with the same group with as here. And also they're finishing up sidewalks in the same bid in the city of Lane with the same deal through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Go to Wellsville meeting this evening. If any of you are interested, we're still having that meeting next Tuesday morning here. The people here from Midwest Assistance Program through the RC&D. I've been met with Paul Bean, and he's pretty interested in the project and checked into it, and he'll try and be there too. Our new economic development director, anybody needs to know, he seemed to be pretty. It's only his second day on the job, so I'm sure his schedule. He's going to try. He didn't know if he could make it or not. So that's all I got now.
I haven't been to any meetings since our last meeting. We have a commission meeting next Wednesday. I got your email, Tammy, on the rooms out for the conference. I was going to get back with you, but I thought, well, I'll just wait for today. I've never went out on a Monday before. I see you booked rooms for Monday night. It's too late to, I don't need a room Monday
You
night.
guys might want to check the schedule, because I think the schedule looks a little different, and they're supposed to be starting early on Tuesday. So
I've always, like I said, went out Tuesday, usually had time just to register, and they didn't have much going in the afternoon. So it's not an issue. If there is more stuff, we need to be there earlier.
They were starting at like 8:30 or 9.
Yeah.
There was stuff starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I did that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, like I said, commission meeting next Wednesday. It's the only thing we have coming up. I need to talk to you about the FCDC banquet. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. Are you going to that?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know what we need to do. I'll get with you after the meeting about that, so. Anything else? If not, we'd look for a motion to adjourn. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.
When did the